We are nearing the end of our extreme kitchen renovation, and it's finally time to prep our vintage lighting for install, bring in our new and saved appliances, brass faucets, and make the small tweaks to make the kitchen that much more perfect. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to our kitchen renovation. And Fernando is here. He's just finishing up those doors that were missing from last week when he was doing the process. So we have them now. They were a little more custom. We were fixing some doors and the doors for the fridge that were ordered once I installed it. Over the next 2 weeks or so, we're gonna wrap all of that up. And also yesterday, the countertop guys came back out to finish up all the stone on the sink side of the kitchen. And you guys, when I show you the design that we did early in the last video, if you saw where we shaped the edges of the backsplash and we were able to do a backsplash, looks more beautiful than I had imagined. Let me show you. I had no idea that when I designed this kind of like waterfall edge coming from the window down the wall to the backsplash and the sink side, that it would make this whole area feel huge. Doesn't it make it feel so big?
Yes, it does.
I love that I got some edge detailing on the backsplashes, and there's this juxtaposition of the OG edge on the backsplash and the clean edge of the countertops. You know, it's kind of like a juxtaposition to make it feel more now and more contemporary, but also give it that character and that edge that I like. Happy accident that we didn't get the other stone that we were going to be using, and we went with this one. I think it's beautiful behind the oven with all the veins and stuff. I think all of this, I purposely put this piece here so that it had more movement and veins, so it matched and flowed into the backsplash behind the oven. They kind of look like a complete kind of thought. Those little details, those little thoughts, you know, and decisions that you can make throughout a renovation or something that I think make a big impact. Just finished the pieces that are gonna go on the fridge doors. So the fridge is gonna look like it's built in. It wasn't ever meant to be stainless steel or anything. That's gonna look so good.
It looks a little dark now because the stain's wet, but
yeah,
once it's dry, look at that.
Which is so interesting.
Beautiful.
Yeah, stunning. Which is so interesting that, you know, as it cures, it actually, the real tone starts to show through. It doesn't look so dark anymore after
You notice it actually got lighter once the lacquer settled. I told you. Trust me. Trust me.
Him. So my contractor was here all day yesterday assessing and just being like, okay, who needs to come first? We're in the finishing stages. So he's like, okay, let's get the electrician out. She was here taking count of things that we needed, like for the outlets and the recessed lighting and things like that. I called to have our oven installed. Hopefully we can get all of our appliances in within a matter of a couple of days. Major things are gonna be happening. One thing we do need to decide on is what order our faucets and our little things for around the sink go in, so that we're able to drill all of the holes in the stone for all of our pieces. We needed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 holes, which is crazy. We know that the faucet goes right in the center. Another thing we know is the air gap. The air gap is the gap between the garbage disposal and the dishwasher, so that no like contaminated water gets filtered in and out. I don't exactly know how it works. I just know that it's really good to have one if you have those two things. So this one I ordered in the same color from Kohler. All of this stuff is Kohler's because I wanted it all to match in tone, and it's their vibrant brushed brass. So this is an air gap. So we know that that needs to go in between the sink and the dishwasher, so it has to go on the left side. You know, on the very end of it, I don't have the insides of it, but I'm just gonna sit it here so we can see what it looks like. And then we have a sprayer for the faucet. So that's detached because I didn't want one that came off of the faucet and you sprayed. Well, this is when it got tricky. We're right-handed, so I feel like naturally we would kind of put it on the right, but we also have The water faucet. A big thing I wanted when we renovated this kitchen was filtered water. I don't want to have water bottles that we purchase or whatever like we've been doing when we haven't had the kitchen. I really wanted a filtration system of some kind. So this is like the bar faucet from Kohler that matches. And this is as small as it came. And the final piece is the air switch for the garbage disposal. You just press it down and it turns on and off the garbage disposal in the same color. For some reason, my gut is telling me to go with the faucet for the water on this side, but see, I can't put it right next to this faucet like I had originally planned because it's kind of too close. It's like in the way. I'm thinking it goes all the way over. Does the sprayer go here? And then the air switch will go here. I think that's our best bet, our best decision. We've had our dishwasher in the garage for 4 months while we've been doing this renovation. So you can see that it's kind of like a two-toned, like a brushed stainless steel and a regular. I am not a fan of stainless steel. I actually am not a fan of seeing the appliances at all. I don't like, well, except for the oven. The oven I like to see. But the fridge, I tend to always like to do like built-in like cabinet panel ready. So it looks like cabinetry. And you can do the same thing to dishwashers. So I think when later down the road, when we do need a new dishwasher, when this one goes out, we would either do it black like the oven or panel it like the refrigerator. So we have options, but this one's in great condition. I don't know how old this one is actually. I'm thinking I want to leave this top part as is because it has the buttons and the screen to function. I feel like you can't really paint this part. I would paint over the name. it would kind of be a lot. But this I do want to paint. So I think the combo of it will be fine because our oven is actually a combo as well. It has 3 different finishes. It has the black, brass, and it also has some stainless steel accents as well. So it's all kind of mixed. I feel like this front piece will actually come off. I just need to figure out how that's done. Probably on the inside. Yeah, there's screws. Oh. Actually not gonna take off the top part because that has all the brains of it. Now that I've taken this piece off, I'm wondering if you can actually buy this piece in a different color. I haven't looked into that, but we already have it. We might as well try and repurpose it. I have a couple of products that we're going to be using. Basically, the method that we're going to use is we're going to clean this up to start, just to get it prepped. We're going to be using some fine sandpaper. You could use like 220, 250, anything with a finer grit, because basically all we want to do is rough up the edges so the primer sticks really well and doesn't have any opportunity to chip on us later on. Just prepping the stainless steel to wipe off all any residue that it left. We are going to be using an epoxy enamel spray paint in black for the final coating. Since the enamel spray paint is oil-based, I wanted to make sure that I was using an oil-based primer as well. So the thing about oil-based things is that they're stinky, much stinkier than water-based products. So wear a mask, and I definitely went through a phase, DIY phase, where I'm like thinking I'm invincible, and I'm like, no problem, like I don't care. Not wear a mask, do a lot of things. I'm definitely getting better at it. I think I'm caring more because I had a baby and I need to protect myself. I'm outside, so it's ventilated, obviously, but I'm gonna put on my big mask just for extra precaution. Because I want this to be black. I could have tinted this primer. I would have tinted it gray and it just would have been less of a jump from pure white to black. I may opt for an extra coat. Another thing that I want to paint is on our oven. The feet aren't my favorite. So the oven actually sits off the ground about 6 inches, 5 or 6 inches or so. And it has 4 feet. And they look like this. They look super modern and not my vibe. This company, LV, actually sells a really ornate decorative foot as a replacement that you can buy. They're very expensive. They were like $240 a piece or something when I looked at them. And I actually think it was too ornate. Looking at pictures of people that have swapped it out, I didn't love it. Something about it was too much for me. So my mom actually had this idea is, why don't you just use the same feet and just paint them? Basically, we're making them disappear. So we're gonna paint them black as well so they match the oven and this. And I'm gonna use the same process. We're gonna sand them, prime them, and paint them however many coats we do the dishwasher as well. Something that I have learned, and I continue to learn every time I work on my own projects, and also watching like the talented tradesmen that are working on like my kitchen and stuff, especially with like painting work, finishing work. I think a lot of times we can lack patience in really taking the time to do things correctly, to let things dry. The products are important that you use, obviously the quality of the paint or the stain. The process is also really important, like the steps that you follow, but also having patience in between each section to really take the time to make sure that it's perfect and that you're giving things proper time to dry. I've fallen victim of that in my projects where I'm just like, oh, I just want to finish, or I'm waiting the bare minimum between coats, or I'm not really going back and sanding in between each coat. Or I've even seen comments from people saying like, oh, is priming really necessary? It is. You know, if you really want a finish that's gonna last, the process is so important, and the patience is so important to really follow through on each of those processes. So I'm really taking my time on this to really push myself to make it that much better than any of the other paint projects that I've worked on. So I've done 2 coats of primer, sanding first and in between, and I'm gonna do 2 coats of paint, which is the enamel paint, sanding in between, and I think I'm also going to put a clear coat on it. Okay, we are getting very close to our pretty lights going up, like finishing out all the electrical things. I hunted for pretty lights for a long time for this space, and I've had them for quite a while because it was one of the first things that I was trying to decide on, and I really wanted vintage lighting. And if you follow me over my vlog channel, you went through this whole process with me. We went on multiple trips in Los Angeles to different places where I knew that they would have vintage and antique lighting. And then I also looked online at places, obviously like Facebook Marketplace was like my first stop to look for lighting. Estate sales, I looked on Cherish and First Dibs because those are both websites that have lots of antiques and vintage items. They're priced very high when you go on Cherish or First Dibs. Some crazy high. Kind of deterred me away from the websites because I was like, this is crazy. Like, no. I took a chance and actually offered something for a light that I found, and they accepted my offer. I offered something comparable. I offered something that, okay, this is what that table is worth, or this is what that light is worth, this is what I've seen, and this is what I'm willing to pay. And I just kind of threw it out there to see what would happen. So I did find the light on Cherish, and it is here. This is just the inside of it. We're actually going to like kind of put it together or get it closer to being put it together so that the electrician can actually hang it. I'll put in a picture of it. It's gorgeous. And this one is going to go in the center of the room. This is going to be our main light in the center. And then I wanted also a pretty light to go right above our sink right here. So I was at an estate sale and I found this light. It was marked $50. It was half off day at the estate sale. So I got it for $25. I think it's gonna be so pretty and a much smaller scale over the kitchen sink. I didn't want anything too huge because we have the one not too far away in the center of the room. So up here on the top, it doesn't have the canopy. So I actually ordered this one on Amazon. The detail is really similar. I think the only difference that I see is that this one is much brighter right now, and this one has a lot more age to it, because obviously this is old, and this is probably how it started out. So we can burnish this up a little bit if we wanted to. So this piece is gonna be the canopy that goes to the top of the light against the ceiling. So where this section, the canopy of the light, meets the ceiling, I want to put a medallion. Now this is one that is newer, that is very lightweight. It's made out of PVC. Like it's nothing, like look at this. This is actually the perfect material to get the design you want, but also not add any weight to your ceiling, because you're already adding, you know, like a chandelier of some kind. So I can paint it the same color as the ceiling, so it just adds texture. And we can caulk it, make it look really polished. So we're gonna do this today, so it's already up. But look how pretty this is going to be, like that, in the center, and it's gonna be up on the ceiling. I'm not gonna put the crystals on it until it's installed. But I did put one together to see how beautiful it really was going to be. The detail in the brass is what I really fell in love with this light. And then the crystals was just kind of like the icing on the top. And at the bottom of the chandelier is a huge crystal ball, faceted and stunning, and that hangs at the bottom. Like imagine how it's gonna catch the light. Oh my gosh. Can you imagine if the sun actually hits it? I don't know if it will, maybe in the mornings. Oh. I've got all the arms on there, and I'm to the point where I've got all the wires coming through the bottom. This is now to the stage that I think the electrician can do this. I have a pretty good idea about how to do this and how to join the electrical from each arm into the main source so that it all lights up, but I'm not gonna take any chances. And since we have an electrician here, this is what I need her to do. So, okay, now we can put the medallion up on the ceiling. I have random adhesives in my DIY stash. So I'm gonna use a combination of an adhesive on the parts that are actually going to touch the ceiling, like here. We're gonna use my brad nailer too to actually get it into place. This thing is so light, and also it'll have the support from the light itself once it goes up, but I wanna make sure that it, you know, stays up there and stays in place. So this thing has to be perfectly centered. I'm thinking the points should be pointing towards the oven and then the back of the kitchen. So I'm gonna measure and mark the center 19 inches out from the light so that I can actually see it when I put it up, so it's perfectly aligned. So the electrician actually got all the wires for every arm fed into the main wire so that it can be attached and installed into the room. So I can put the pretty bottom piece on. I love this piece, this bottom piece so much. That's what you're gonna look at when you look up from the table. And then it has this acorn as well that holds the big leaded crystal ball. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on so that when they go to install it, all the metal portions, the brass portions of the light are all complete. And I just need to come back when everyone's done and put the crystals on. Okay, let's see. Yo, we're impatient. We will see what it was gonna look like. It's so heavy.
Oh,
So pretty over the table.
yeah, it's gonna be pretty.
Oh, I love it. Okay, it's heavy, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So for outside lights, I had to get a few pretty fixtures for outside because for code, you have to have a light at every exit door, you know, so you can switch it on before you step outside so you can see where you're going. So I got some that look really similar to the solar powered ones that we put around the pool. I loved that look because that look was the same light type that we had on the pillars coming up our driveway. So I was trying to keep all of the lighting in the house consistent. Now they'll finish the stucco and paint the house before they install these. Pretty much all of the fixtures will be hung last. I wanted something small. It kind of like the scale of it seems a little off because I wanted something small because I want to come back and build like a trellis of some sort and I want to grow something here. So this whole wall is pretty much going to be covered. And I want it to grow like over the door and hang. My gut is telling me to do like climbing jasmine, like Star of Jasmine that we have in the front. And one of these will also go on the front patio, going out that door, because we never had a light there either. Good morning, guys. I think it might be finishing week for the contractor work. We will see. There's a lot of little pieces that need to come together and a lot of different trades that are kind of weaving into each other so that we can get it all finished. But there's gonna be a lot of people in and out of here today. I already got an update text this morning. My contractor's on the way with the plumber, also the electrician, and hopefully a walkthrough with the final touches of the cabinetry later this afternoon, but most likely later this week. Also, have the oven kind of in the middle of the room. All the parts are here. They're gonna take care of this today. How beautiful is this oven?
Hi,
I'm good, how are you? Rocking and rolling today.
yes.
This one's just the water needs to be cleansed. So that's a new light. So this is all junk
No junk, right
now.
there. Got it.
Yeah. So
We're gonna have a walkthrough. I'm gonna do a first walkthrough with you, Berto.
yeah.
What I see.
Yeah.
But if we can do it together.
For sure. So today they have been working really hard on getting the external blower for our hood installed. It's actually gonna go on the outside of the house so it's much quieter, calmer. Inside the kitchen, you don't hear that when you're cooking. My contractor is on his way. He's actually gonna do a walkthrough with the cabinet maker, and he wants me to walk through and start making a punch list. And a punch list is essentially a list of things that need to be finished. All the little details that I see that still need to be perfected. So I'm gonna go through and do that so I'm prepped for him to do a walkthrough. So that's one, right? And then we're gonna put a panel in inside. The only real problem with this panel is just, you can just see that. This, I love. This is epic. See the space in the crown molding right there?
What,
See
here?
it?
Here?
Oh,
Oh, here.
up there.
Yeah, here, you want to see it?
Yep.
Just
Like
straight up.
that, and then fill up the top.
Yeah. So for underneath our cabinets, I really wanted the power strip, the plugs, because I didn't want to see them on the walls above the countertops. And so we were gonna put these power strips. Well, to be up to code and to have the right ones, they only came in white and like a very industrial black option for like more like workshops. So we had to go with the white version, and they had this big like junction box, basically this big like box where the wires come into. So I lowered you so that you could see, and you're not even as low as I will be sitting at the dining room table looking up at these cabinets. You see this whole strip? So this box sticks out below the bottom of the cabinets. And this is also not finished out yet. We had to wait for these plugs to be installed so that they could come back with our LED light panel that'll be walnut as well. So everything about underneath these cabinets is gonna look really good, but this sticking out below the bottom of the cabinets really bugs me. It can't happen. And we just didn't know. We didn't know how big those were going to be. We're going to be coming back with a trim piece. So we're the same molding, just this part. And then it'll sit underneath like that. And then it'll block this so I don't see it, right?
You know, the thing is gonna be like this, no?
Right,
Because I need to screw to this.
right,
You need to go like this.
right,
Mhm.
right.
So
So
I
you
got the
can
one
put
I
it
need.
into this piece.
Exactly.
Beautiful, yeah.
Yeah.
Take the trim that we used up top. We're gonna take this bottom portion, ignore this bottom piece, but that profile, the little piece here, the hump and the hump, and we're gonna put it on the bottom, below all the uppers to hide those strip boxes and add more trim. I'm very happy about it, so let's just go with it. It's gonna look so good. So now we can just stain these pieces to match the rest of the cabinetry in the dark walnut, and it's gonna solve our issue of seeing those plugs, and it adds more trim, which makes me really happy. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We are tying up loose ends. We're finishing up all of the little details that need to go into the kitchen, kind of nitpicking it, you know, to really, really finish it and make it perfect. And we're finally gonna get to the stage where we can start decorating and start using the kitchen and actually cook our first meal. All the things. Stay tuned for next episode, and if you've missed any of the episodes so far, I have a complete playlist where you can get caught up, because we are officially on episode 9 now. We're going into episode 10. So we're wrapping up this series really, really quickly, and I'm so excited to finally get to use this space. I'll see you guys in 2 Sundays. Bye guys.